Before I show you our brand new product, which is our freeze-dried raw, I want to talk about how this really differs and stands out. Everything you've come to love about Bones & Co., the low-carb recipe, high in healthy fats, rich in protein, is found in this freeze-dried Bones & Co. bag, the only difference being the form factor, meaning our freeze-dried still promotes the most optimal metabolic state for dogs, known as ketosis. This is where dogs use fat as the primary fuel source instead of relying on carbs and sugars as the primary fuel source. Now, before I talk about how to feed this food, let's talk about where to get it. You simply need to ask your local independent pet store for Bones & Co. freeze-dried. It comes in 3 flavors: beef, chicken, turkey, and 2 different size bags, 12 ounce and 25 ounce. And again, it's the same keto recipe as our original frozen raw food. There's a few ways you can feed Bones & Co. freeze-dried. Before I talk about those though, the first most important step is to always rehydrate the food. Our favorite way to do that is using our raw goat milk, our bone broth. You can even add water to rehydrate it. We recommend to start by hydrating 1/3 of a cup of our raw goat milk, bone broth, or water per cup of food. And the reason you want to add moisture back in is one of the ways we were able to make this shelf stable so it doesn't need to be stored in the fridge or freezer is through the freeze drying process, which is a much less processed way of producing food than a traditional kibble, but it does remove much of the moisture. We simply take all of our ingredients, mix into a grinder, then form into little pieces. Those little pieces are flash frozen to preserve freshness. From there, we slowly freeze dry to remove the moisture, which makes it shelf stable, really easy to pack and feed. As for the amount of feeding, the best place to start is on the back of the bag. We have a feeding guideline chart that you can use as a starting place. What we recommend with feeding for any dog on any food is to start with the recommended guidelines on the back of the food bag and then adjust as needed. You see, every dog is different, and especially on our very low carb, high in meat, high in healthy fat keto recipe, many dogs can eat a smaller quantity than other foods because there are no fillers and all the ingredients are intentional to make it complete and balanced and nutrient dense. Many dogs are more satiated on it. Of course, most pet parents will feed this as the everyday diet for their dog because again, it is complete and balanced and made for all life stages. You can also feed this just as needed if you're going to be traveling and you can't take frozen food with you, or maybe you have a pet sitter that just would prefer to feed something like this. Or if you are feeding a kibble right now, you could replace part of the bowl, 20 to 50% of it, with our freeze-dried raw. That way your dog is getting a little bit of the more fresh option versus a really ultra processed hot extruded kibble, which most kibbles are. Maybe you have a picky dog or you want to add a little extra protein to your dog's bowl of kibble. You can add this as a topper. It's very palatable because of the healthy fats, which healthy fats make everything taste better, or even a healthy training treat. So my question for you, are you more excited about the chicken, beef, or turkey freeze-dried raw from Bones & Co? Leave any questions you have for us in the comments below. Click here to learn more about keto supplements. Don't forget to click that subscribe button, and I hope you have an awesome day.